Today, Activision has reconfirmed that Call of Duty 2023 is coming out this year and will be a full annual premium release. So in this video, we're going to go over everything that's known so far about COD 2023, as there's been some very interesting discussion on the internet over the last few weeks and months about what exactly this game is going to be. Every 3 months, Activision reports their quarterly financial results. As a business, they explain how things are going so far and what they're planning on in the future. With them stating today that Activision's teams are working hard on the next full annual premium release in the Blockbuster series and Call of Duty Warzone Mobile, both slated for later this year. Now, normally every year is pretty clear cut that we're getting a completely new Call of Duty game every single year, but this will be the first year where we will see a surprising twist where we will get a continuation of last year's game rather than a brand new game. And this is according to Jason Schreier at Bloomberg. He stated in an article at the end of February that Activision's goal for this new COD game is to feel like a standalone full price release, but also an extension of Modern Warfare 2. And this is according to people familiar with the project. If we look at what Activision have said today, all they've said is the wording as the next full premium annual release in the Blockbuster series. There's no real specifics on if it's a new game or if it's a continuation of Modern Warfare 2. And I think their wording is very interesting. And of course, it's very specifically chosen to word like this. Now, straight away, there's already some confusion about what is going to be from Modern Warfare 2 and what is going to be brand new. And the current plan supposedly is the game will carry over maps and modes that are in Modern Warfare 2 into this new game, although there's also been caution that plans could change at any point between now and its release. And the biggest bombshell is that apparently Sledgehammer Games are the developers of this year's Call of Duty game. Rather than typically having one of 3 studios take the lead on a new game rotating every few years, this will not be Call of Duty Vanguard 2, but instead Sledgehammer have been brought on to make sure that this game releases at the end of the year. Now, according to Jason, Activision made a huge decision in early 2022 to delay the next big Treyarch game, the Black Ops game that we are all excited and waited for, pushing its release from the end of this year to the end of next year. And it would make the first time in nearly 2 decades that there would no be a yearly Call of Duty release. But Activision told Sledgehammer to develop a premium expansion for Modern Warfare to help fill that gap. Due to the scope and scale of the expansion, it was so big that it was more than just a premium expansion at that point, and morphed into a full premium game. Now, the original plans, according to Jason, was a single player campaign and several multiplayer maps, and this has just morphed into its own full-fledged game. Let's talk about the likelihood of what's going to happen with the campaign in this year's game. We know that it's going to be a continuation of Modern Warfare 2's, but if we look at what's happening right now with Modern Warfare 2, the raids that we're getting every season are continuing on that campaign storyline, but it's not a direct continuation. And I feel we're going to get to the very end of that and we're going to have a massive reveal where we're going to see, of course, Vladimir Makarov, who was introduced as the new antagonist at the end of Modern Warfare 2's campaign with that very exciting modern version of No Russian. And I'm sure this year's COD is going to be all about that. Quite frankly, I'm really excited to see. Now, there is a Twitter account called Akira99 who posted a tweet longer where they claim that they are a QA tester at Activision and they are planning to leave. Before they did, they wanted to just dump a load of leaked information on the internet. So we have no idea how true any of this is. So we got to take it with a grain of salt, and a massive one at that. This Twitter account was created in December 2022, and this is their only tweet. So there's a good chance that most of this might not be true at all. I mean, it's hard to believe a random person on the internet could really be a QA tester, but regardless if it's wrong or if any of it is actually true, I feel it's interesting just to discuss it regardless because it's some interesting ideas. Akira mentions a bunch of details for multiplayer as well as campaign. Starting off with the multiplayer, he played a load of classic maps from COD 4 and the original MW2, such as Chinatown, Quarry, Terminal, and more. And I think it is extremely likely that every remade map we currently have in MW2 2022 from the original Modern Warfare 2 will be its own multiplayer map in this year's game. There's obviously a very clear reason why we've not seen these maps remade into multiplayer maps in the game yet. It's obviously because they're probably saving them for this year's upcoming COD. We don't really know much more than that. If there's going to be the same weapons as MW2 or if there's going to be brand new ones, who really knows? But on the topic of campaign, he mentioned that the raids that were planned for Season 6 and Year 2 of Modern Warfare 2 are now being repurposed as main campaign levels, with Makarov being in the game, and that he will be hinted in the future raids of Modern Warfare 2 but will not be seen on screen until COD 2023. Al-Assad will also be in this year's game. Him and Makarov will be working together, and we just had a reveal in the new raid that Hadir, who is Farah's brother, is Al-Assad. Kira also mentions that Yuri will be in the game and he'll be playable in some of the missions, and the campaign is virtually done, with one of the missions that he played was similar to the Davis family vacation mission from MWII, which, if you guys recall, is a pretty harrowing end to a campaign mission. Now again, we have no idea how true any of these details are, but he mentions that there are missions within the UK, Germany, Al-Mazrah, Uzbekistan, and the USA, but you are mainly dealing with special operatives. There'll be nothing related to the cartel. And as expected, General Shepard is going to be in the game, but he is considered missing in action, so he won't be a main feature in the game. We won't see anything like we've seen in Loose Ends in the original MW2, where we realized that he was working alongside Makarov. And what's really fascinating is Akira also mentions that he played an updated version of survival mode, which we saw in MW 2019 and we thought was going to be in this game, and we get like 5 rounds of it in one Spec Ops mission, but it apparently is going to be a full-fledged mode within this year's COD, where you pick a random multiplayer map and you survive multiple waves of enemies. They played on the highway map and it was apparently pretty fun. You start with a pistol, you have to purchase care packages that give random guns, then you go to gunsmith stations to purchase attachments for those guns. There was changes in time mid-game, so it started in like the evening, and then as you progressed, the game's setting turned into night, and then the map got darker, and then you'd have to put on night vision goggles, but apparently you have to get lucky with them coming out of care packages. And apparently the feedback given was that it was annoying and that it should just be buyable, and he doesn't even know if this mode will ever release, but it was fairly fun. But on the topic of any other multiplayer additions such as new perks, field upgrades, or mechanics, there were none new, which is really interesting. But again, we just don't know how true all of that information is. But of course, with a campaign, a multiplayer, you've of course got to have Warzone, and it's very likely that we will be getting a Las Almas Battle Royale map, as there's a map in the campaign that sort of teases that this already exists. But according to Akira, that is exactly what we're going to be getting for COD 2023 when it comes to Warzone, and that the map's apparently already finished. It should have been added for Modern Warfare 2's second year, but that's not going to happen, and it will just release when Warzone 2 and COD 2023 integrate. Overall, this is just such a fascinating situation, because this is probably one of the first times we've ever seen like a mainline Call of Duty game where it won't be mainly focused by a developer that's known for creating it. It's like as if Sledgehammer or a completely separate development studio were like the faces of the next Black Ops game instead of Treyarch. Like, obviously Infinity Ward is still involved, but they're not the main faces. And I guess you could say this is a similar scenario to what we saw with MWII, where that game was developed by IW and Sledgehammer like 50-50 due to the weird situation that happened with Infinity Ward and Modern Warfare 2. I've seen some people on the internet worry that this won't feel like a Modern Warfare game because it's not made by Infinity Ward, but some people also feel like that could be a good thing. I don't know. Let me know what camp you sit in and what you think of all of this. Again, none of this has been officially confirmed by Activision. A lot of what Jason Schreier says ends up being true and is one of the most trusted insiders in all of gaming, but we will just have to see. But with Activision talking about the quarterly stuff today, we're going to have to look towards July to see if they're going to mention any other specifics about what this year's COD game is, if it hasn't been revealed by then. If you found this video informative and useful, be sure to let me know by dropping a thumbs up and subscribing with the bell ticked. But you can watch my previous zombies video on your screen right now.